I'm back in SQL Developer, and what I'm going to do is to create an invisible index on the students table over the zip code column. Right now, the students table has a few indexes on it, but not one on the zip codes column, and I'll demonstrate that to you by running this query. And so we see Oracle's performing a full table scan. It's not using an index of any sort in this query. So let's go ahead and create our index. And notice, in this create index statement, we've included the invisible keyword. So what will happen is that Oracle's going to create this index. It just won't be visible to the Oracle Optimizer in any of the sessions. So let's get this index created. And now we'll run our query again. And we see we're still using a full table scan. Of course, the reason why is because our index is marked as invisible, so we've told the Oracle Optimizer not to consider using this index. So let's alter our session so we can use the index in this session. If you were creating a new index and just wanted to try it out on a limited basis and run a couple of queries to see how they act with the index, this would be what you would do. Okay, our session has been altered. So now when we run this query again, we see that Oracle is using our new index. Now this is the only session that is going to be able to see that index. To prove that to you, I've also logged into SQL Plus in another window. So this is a separate session, and let's run our query over here. As we see here, in SQL Plus, we're not using our index. And the reason why is because the index is invisible, and we haven't altered the Oracle session over here in SQL Plus to allow us to use invisible indexes. So think of SQL Plus as your application that's running. It's not going to be affected by or use any invisible indexes that might exist. And this is the point. When you have an invisible index, you have to opt in to use that index, and in this way, you can test things out and not impact any running applications. Okay, let's head back to SQL Developer, and the first thing I want to do is to disable our session from using invisible indexes, so I'll change this value here to false. And now our session won't be able to use invisible indexes anymore, and we can prove that if we go back up here and run the query and we see that we're back to the full table scan. At this point, we've done all the testing that we want to do, and now we're ready to move forward and make our index visible so that everyone can use it. To do this, we need to run an alter index command on the index. And now our index has been altered and it should be visible. So if we come back up and run our query again, we see indeed it is using the index. Now this is true not just for this session, but for any session. So if we go back to SQL Plus and we run our query again over here, we'll see that now we are using the index in this session as well. For the last part of this demonstration, we're going to mark the query as invisible once again, to simulate us doing a type of soft drop of the index. So to do that, I'm just going to change the alter index command to use the invisible keyword. And so now our index should be invisible. So if I go back up here and I run the SQL statement one more time, we see that we're back to a full table scan, meaning that index has been set back to being invisible. So there you have it. Invisible indexes give you this type of on-off switch functionality for an index. This is useful when you want to perform some testing in a dedicated session before you make the index available to everyone, or when you want to drop an index, but have a backup plan to quickly restore the index in case you encounter any unexpected side effects.